All right, thank you. Commissioner Eggenberger, could you please call the roll?
Sure.
I'll catch up
Commissioner
soon.
Cruz. Commissioner Eggenberger, here. Commissioner Foster. Here. Commissioner Janowski. Here. Commissioner Lee, he just had to leave. Commissioner Singh.
Here.
Commissioner Watkins. Here. Commissioner Weber.
Here.
And Chairperson Zuber.
Here, thank you very much. And let the record reflect that we have Patrick Sloan and Aaron Schluto here from the township, and we have our consultant, Courtney Agrusa, here this evening as well. So thank you for joining us. We have minutes from October 6th. Would anyone like to make a motion about those?
Move approval,
Madam
approve.
Chair.
Second. Second.
I'm going to go with Commissioner Watkins made the motion and Commissioner Weber seconded that motion. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right. Any opposed? Very good. We have an agenda for this evening. Are there anything to add or delete, Patrick?
No changes to the agenda.
Okay. Anybody want to make a motion about the agenda? Don't all talk at once.
Commissioner, I move to approve.
All right. We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Weber, and was that a support, Commissioner Singh? Okay, very good. Support by Commissioner Singh. Any further discussion? All right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Patrick, you sent us some communications from some people about tonight's public hearings. Anything else you want to report on, or?
Nothing else to send over. Anyone who had emailed me about the public hearing items have been forwarded to the Planning Commission. So they were for items number 2 and 3 on the agenda, where we did receive some public comment. And we sent those public comments also to the respective applicants.
Good, so they can see what people are saying. That's great. Thank you very much. Okay. Next item on the agenda is a public comment section. We will allow anyone to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes. But if you're here to talk about anything that is a public hearing this evening, which would be the Master Plan Future Land Use Map Corrections, the Umler Group project at Ford and Beck, or the A to Z Galleria project at Hanan and Michigan Ave. If you're here to talk about those items, we request that you just hold your comments and make them during those public hearings. But if you're here to say anything in general or talk about anything else, feel free to move to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and you got your 3 minutes. Anybody? Nope? Okay.
Guess we know what everyone's here for.
I
tonight.
guess we do. Okay, well, we got some long hearings tonight, looks like. All right, very good. Well, let's move right into the public hearing section. The first item on our agenda is the Master Plan Future Land Use Map Corrections. I'm assuming that's Aaron's bailiwick tonight. Aaron, tell us all about it.
Hello, good evening, everyone. This evening, we're asking the Planning Commission to hold their public hearing related to 3 corrections that were noted in the future land use map after the adoption of the master plan in June of this year. We had this discussion last month, but just for clarification and for everyone here, there were 3 errors that were noted. One is related to the medium-density residential classification. The color coding was correct in the map itself, it just was not included in the legend. So we had, those versions had been previously provided to the Planning Commission, to the Township Board, and to the public during the public comment period. It was just during the final edits and final changes and formatting and whatnot of the master plan with our consultants that we saw that an error had taken place. So the corrected action for that first item is there's nothing on the map was altered to correct this error. It's just including that land use classification in the table. The second item is related to the special planning areas. There are 5 special planning areas along Michigan Avenue that we've identified. They are numbered 1 through 5. The corresponding table that's below the legend on the map incorrectly numbered those areas as 1, 2, 3, 3, 1, 2, 3, 3, 5. So it eliminated number 4 for, and this was something that, again, that was done, all the previous versions that the board, the public had seen was correct. It was just something that was missed inadvertently during the final formatting of the future land use map. So again, nothing on the map was changed. The numbers were all correct on the map itself. It was just within the legend that the error occurred. Finally, item number 3, there's a property at Morton Taylor, just north of the Lower Rouge River. This property was acquired by the township in 2024 and has been designated as the Jeshwadokin Nature Area. During our final conversions, the future land use map, it was incorrectly characterized as municipal when it should have been labeled as park. And just for consistency and making sure that all the properties related to nature's areas or open areas that are designated as park, just to make sure there's consistency across the map, we wanted to bring this one forward for clarification. So the corrective action for this particular error is just to color code the property from municipal to park. This is the only error of the 3 that impacts the future land use map. With that, I will take any questions.
Thank you. Somebody want to vote or a motion to open the public hearing?
Madam Chairman, I make a motion to open the public hearing on the master plan corrections.
Support.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Weber and support by Commissioner Eggenberger. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, would anyone like to speak on this subject? Don't all jump at once. All right.
Narrow
Very
it down
good.
further.
Yeah. Huh.
We close. Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Eggenberger and support by Commissioner Weber to close the public hearing for the master plan modifications. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And anybody from the board have any questions about any of this? We talked about it last month, so.
Corollary is this what
I think she,
I'll sit over there from now on.
you get the low chair next,
Yeah.
you get this chair next time. Okay, anything? And
Again, thank you, and my apologies again to the Planning Commission for not catching these errors ahead of time, but glad we were able to get this through and fixed timely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm actually surprised there weren't more, given the volume of material you had to go
Yeah.
through, Aaron, so.
somebody needs to make a motion about this.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion.
Mike, please.
Thought it was. Sorry. I move to recommend adoption of the corrected future land use map shown as draft number 7 in the packet as final and to be included in Canton's Vision for Tomorrow, a comprehensive community master plan pursuant to the resolution prepared for the Board of Trustees.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Weber and support by Commissioner Singh. Any further discussion? Commissioner Eggenberger, could you call the vote?
Sure, Commissioner Cruz.
Yes.
Commissioner Eggenberger.
Very
Yes.
official.
Commissioner Foster.
Yes.
Commissioner Janowski.
Yes.
Commissioner Singh.
Yes.
Commissioner Watkins.
Yes.
Commissioner Weber.
Yes.
And Chairperson Zuber.
Yes, motion carries. All right, very good. All right, and the second item on our agenda this evening is is item number 065-RZ-8783. The Umlor Group is, we are considering rezoning parcel number 065-99-0007-702, which is also known as 47453 Ford Road. This property is located on the southwest corner of Ford Road and Beck Road. The proposed request to rezone parcel from RR, Rural Residential District, to C3, Regional Commercial District. Patrick, please tell us more.
Okay. Thank you. We'll just get the packet to reload here.
Before you get started, anybody who just came in, if you want a seat, there are some chairs back at the very back that you are welcome to use as well. If you want to sit in one of the swivel chairs, the comfy chairs, you can too. Okay. Sorry, Patrick. Go ahead.
Thank you. The proposal for this rezoning request is to rezone the parcel at the southwest corner of Ford Road and Beck Road, which is 4.29 acres at 47453 Ford Road, from RR Rural Residential to C3 Regional Commercial District. If the parcel is rezoned to C3 Regional Commercial, the applicant proposes to develop a development that includes an automobile filling / multi-use station, retail, and multifamily residential, which would only be possible through the Planned Development District process. However, the proposal is conceptual, as shown in the application in terms of the layout plan, which will be presented a little bit later by the applicant. That proposal is conceptual, non-binding, and the layout could change based on available zoning districts and development options of the zoning ordinance. In the C3 district, retail is permitted, but auto filling stations are limited to redevelopment of existing stations or stations which are accessory to primary retail uses or individual tenants within a shopping center having a gross floor area of over 50,000 square feet. So those cases include Meijer, for example, that has a larger store and then has the gas station in front. In the C3 district, multifamily and single-family residential uses are prohibited. Regardless of the proposed uses, our rezoning staff report focuses more on the proposed C3 district than specific land uses, because the proposed application is not a conditional rezoning, it's not a PDD, it's a simple binary rezoning request of the C3 district without conditions. So we treat the application as such, even though there is a layout plan and there is intent to do a future PDD. The existing master plan future land use map classification for the site is medium low density residential, which is 3 dwelling units per acre with neighborhood node number 12. And the surrounding master plan future land use map classifications are also medium low density residential, recommended at 3 dwelling units per acre to the south, east, and to the west. To the north, the sites are classified as low density residential at 2 dwelling units per acre. For some background on this property and our meetings with the applicant, looking at zoning map records, the subject parcel has been zoned RR rural residential since at least 1990. Prior to 1990, the site had been zoned agricultural or low density residential, or some combination of the two types of zoning districts. According to the assessing department records, the current owner purchased the parcel on March 13th of this year. And at that time, the site was zoned RR rural residential, and the future land use of the previous comprehensive plan classified the site as medium low density residential at 3 dwelling units per acre. About a month and a half ago or almost about 2 months ago on September 2nd of this year, the municipal services director and I met with the property owner and his representatives to discuss the site. And at this meeting, the owner and his representatives asked how a gas station could be developed at the site. And we explained that the current RR zoning does not permit gas stations, and that the master plan discourages auto-centric uses in the neighborhood node areas. And it's not just gas stations that are discouraged, but also car washes, auto repair, auto service stations, fast food restaurants, things like that. We also described the neighborhood node development guidelines that were in the master plan in terms of the type of development that the neighborhood nodes would recommend, and that if and when there's a future neighborhood node district, that district would have specific development standards. The owner's representatives had asked during that meeting what application process is available to them to eventually apply for a gas station use. We had advised them of several available applications, which included a rezoning application. There's also an application to amend the future land use map of the master plan, and there's also a planned development district application. So even though the master plan doesn't recommend auto-oriented uses, it doesn't recommend commercial uses, doesn't recommend the C3 district, There are applications available where anybody can apply for almost any use using those applications or a combination of the applications. So because an application has been submitted, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's been staff's endorsement of the application. It's just a potential step along the way to a future proposed development. And while we reiterated to the owner and his representatives during the meeting that the newly adopted master plan does not recommend auto-centric uses, and that the planning staff would most likely not recommend a commercial zoning for this property, we told the owners and his representatives that we would assist them through whichever process they pursued. So in this case, they've opted for the C3 zoning, so our staff report is based on that application request. For the C3 zoning district, whenever we look at a rezoning application, we have to consider not just the proposed use that an applicant lists in the application and that they put on their sign, but we have to consider all uses in the potential zoning district. In this case, in section 17.02 of the zoning ordinance, it has all the permitted and the special land uses available in the C3 zoning district. And that subsection of the zoning ordinance is included as an appendix or an attachment to our staff report. With a little bit more information about the C3 zoning district, the C3 regional commercial zoning district is currently located in the nearby following areas. First, at the intersection of Ford Road and Lilly Road, about 2.5 miles to the east. That's a major commercial intersection within the Central Business District and the DDA. Second, C3 is located at the intersection of Michigan Avenue and Beck Road, which is approximately 3.5 miles to the south. And third, the C2 district within the Central Business District overlay also allows any land use listed in the C3 district to be considered as a permitted or special land use in the C2 district in the Central Business District overlay. However, this particular site is not within the CBD overlay. Section 6.10 of the zoning ordinance states that all parcels located in the Central Business District overlay are also located in the Canton Township DDA district. And the Central Business District overlay and DDA district have very specific boundaries where it's indicated on the zoning map and the DDA map. And I'll bring that up in a few minutes. It's also important to note that the boundaries of the C2 and the CBD zoning districts, the DDA district, and the commercial future land use classifications along Ford Road share the same western border, which is approximately 1,300 feet west of the intersection of North Canton Center Road and Ford Road. This border is very intentional and serves to prevent commercial sprawl while promoting residential development, which continues to take place west of this boundary. Also, regarding the auto-filling and multi-use station proposal, gas stations or auto-filling stations are currently permitted in the following areas. First, they're permitted in the Cherry Hill Village Overlay District. Second, they're permitted in the C2 Community Commercial District, which allows them as special land uses and limited only to redevelopment of existing stations. Third, in the C3 Regional Commercial District, which allows them as special land uses and limited only to redevelopment of existing stations or an accessory to a primary retail use being 50,000 square feet or more. This applies to the current Speedway, which was redeveloped a few years ago at the intersection of Ford and Canton Center, and it also applies to the Meyer gas station. Both gas stations are located about a mile east of this site. Fourth, gas stations are permitted as special land uses in the C4 Interchange Service District. The next step of our staff report looks at the review considerations of section 27.06D4 of the zoning ordinance. This section consists of 10 criteria and standards of review that have to be considered prior to action on a rezoning. Based on our review of the application materials, the master plan, and the site area, we find that the application does not meet all 10 of the rezoning standards as follows. First, whether the proposed amendment is in accordance with the basic intent and purpose of the zoning ordinance. The Michigan Zoning Enabling Act requires that a zoning ordinance be based upon a plan. The zoning ordinance includes both the text of the zoning ordinance and the zoning map. The purpose statements of the zoning ordinance are in section 1.02, and the proposal to rezone the subject parcel to C3 is not in accordance with many of those purpose statements. The basic intent of the zoning ordinance is to carry out the policies, goals, and objectives of Canton's master plan. And this is done by the establishment of districts and overlays that regulate land to accomplish the preferred development and utilization of land in Canton, and to ensure that the use of land within the township is situated in appropriate locations in appropriate relationships to each other. Also, regarding the intent of the zoning ordinance, in section 17.01 of the zoning ordinance, there's a statement of intent for the C3 zoning district. Near the end of this intent statement, it states that regional commercial district uses typically generate large volumes of traffic, much of which is from outside the community. In accordance with the intent of this district, regional commercial uses and sites should be located away from sensitive residential areas, served by a major thoroughfare as identified in the Wayne County Thoroughfare Plan, which provides access to an interstate thoroughfare within close proximity. Although Ford Road is under the jurisdiction of MDOT, this site is nowhere near a highway interchange. It's also located near sensitive, low-density residential areas. And the master plan as it relates to this site and with many of the nodes, including this node, the intent is not to draw regional traffic from a large area. So in terms of what is recommended in the master plan and the surrounding area, the C3 district is not appropriate for this site. The second standard of review is if the proposed amendment is consistent with the comprehensive plan of the master plan of Canton Township. The master plan was adopted on June 24th of 2025. It includes several policies that are noted in our staff report that are relative to the site, its future land use class on the future land use map, and other policies related to the site and this rezoning request. The future land use map of the master plan classifies the site as medium low density residential at 3 units per acre and includes neighborhood node number 12. For the C3 zoned areas, the master plan recommends that these areas be located in the general commercial areas of the future land use map. The future land use map has these general commercial areas. They're described on page 199 of the adopted master plan, and they're located on the future land use map. These are more regional in nature, places that we'll find along Ford Road farther to the east within the DDA and the CBD, areas along Michigan Avenue that have large volumes of traffic, and in some cases, some northeastern parts of the township that are heavily trafficked and near the cities of Livonia and Westland. In the adopted master plan, there are neighborhood nodes described in several pages. There are several bullet points here in our staff report, and many of these pages are included with our staff report as appendices. With those nodes, each node is unique. Neighborhood node number 12 is probably more unique than any of the others. It includes prohibited land uses, just like the other nodes. And when the Board of Trustees approved the master plan on June 24th of this year, the resolution includes a condition that neighborhood node 12 shall not be implemented until after the recommendations of SEMCOG's road safety audit are implemented. There are statements in the adopting resolution that recognize the ongoing work of the road safety audit, which was awarded a grant by SEMCOG and conducted by Fishbeck at the intersection of Ford and Beck Road and Ford and Ridge Road. And the road safety audit has included participation from SEMCOG, MDOT, Wayne County, and Canton Township officials. And because the road safety audit is still underway, it's revealed many safety concerns and corresponding recommendations. So there was particular attention paid in the adopting resolution of the master plan with respect to this node here at Ford and Beck. Therefore, the proposal to rezone the subject site to C3 is inconsistent with the master plan in many of its areas, including the future land use map. The third standard of rezoning is whether conditions have changed since the zoning ordinance was adopted, and was there a mistake in the zoning ordinance that justifies the amendment? There's not a mistake in the zoning ordinance that justifies a zoning amendment to C3 on this site. According to the zoning map records, the subject parcel has been zoned RR since 1990, so there's nothing regarding any kind of mistake in those current zoning for this site. Although conditions have changed since the zoning ordinance was adopted, these changed conditions do not support rezoning the site to C3. Although there are some elements of the rezoning layout plan that was submitted by the applicant that do incorporate some mixed-use design standards or some mixed-use design concepts with commercial use, residential use, and open space, at this time, it's premature to consider the plan under the neighborhood node criteria of the master plan because the associated zoning district for neighborhood nodes has not yet been adopted, and the rezoning application for C3 does not include conditions. Planning Division staff is currently in the process of working with a consultant to prepare the associated zoning district standards for mixed-use criteria to apply to the neighborhood node areas on the future land use map. Although proposals have been submitted by consultants, a consultant has not yet been selected, and the process of drafting and adopting the standards will likely take several months. There is a recommendation in the master plan to have a mixed-use district that corresponds to the neighborhood nodes, and the master plan was adopted just over 4 months ago. So the master plan is a long-range document. I think it recommends having that district within 1 to 3 years. We've tried to accelerate that timeline as much as possible to start working on it from a staff standpoint and to have a consultant help us with that. So we are in the process of doing that, but we're still several months away from presenting some zoning ordinance text to the Planning Commission and the board for consideration for a potential future mixed-use node district. So in the meantime, the master plan and the future land use map would support the zoning district of up to 3 units per acre, which corresponds to the R3 zoning district. The fourth criteria of the rezoning review is, will the amendment correct an inequitable situation created by the zoning ordinance rather than merely grant special privileges? The proposed zoning amendment for C3 on the subject site will grant special privileges to the property because the site is not planned as general commercial in the master plan, and the C3 district is inappropriate for producing the development encouraged by the neighborhood node areas of the master plan. If the C3 district is approved on the parcel and it's not planned for general commercial in the master plan, there will be an inequitable situation created by granting a special privilege to this property. The fifth criteria is, will the amendment result in unlawful exclusionary zoning? This amendment will not result in exclusionary zoning. The primary intent of the proposed amendment is not to exclude certain uses or development types. There are already many areas of Canton Township that are zoned C3 and or supported by the master plan for C3 zoning. So the denial of this rezoning application to rezone the site to C3 is not exclusionary. The sixth criteria is, will the amendment set an inappropriate precedent resulting in the need to correct future planning mistakes? We find that the proposed amendment will set an inappropriate precedent because it will undermine the neighborhood node areas of the master plan and encourage inappropriate C3 regional commercial zoning in areas where it is not planned or desired. By undermining the master plan in this way, the master plan would lose credibility and legal defensibility if future rezoning amendments are proposed that are not supported by the master plan. If a C3 zoning is approved on the subject parcel, it could be a precursor for other property owners in the RR district and near planned neighborhood node areas to also apply their properties to C3, or apply to rezone their properties to C3. Seventh, if a rezoning is requested, is the proposed zoning consistent with the existing land uses of surrounding property? As we noted in our staff report, the proposed amendment for C3 is inconsistent with the existing land uses to the west, south, and east and north, all of which are single-family residential or in some cases vacant. The neighborhood node provisions of the master plan recognize potential incompatibilities with adjacent land uses and that context sensitivity matters. For that reason, the preparation of the accompanying zoning district will address the uniqueness of each node area and the provisions for design and use that will promote consistency with surrounding land uses. Conversely, creating an unplanned C3 district that is surrounded by RR zoning districts and single-family uses is inconsistent and could be classified as spot zoning. The eighth criteria is, if a rezoning is requested, could all requirements in the proposed zoning classification be complied with on the subject parcel? These findings are just simply based on the setbacks. The setbacks of the C3 district could be met on this particular site if it were rezoned to C3. However, it's unknown whether all uses in the C3 district could be developed on the site based on traffic, neighbor impacts, parking, landscaping, et cetera. The ninth criteria is if a rezoning is requested, is the proposed zoning consistent with the trends in land development in the general vicinity of the property in question? As noted under number 7, development allowed under the proposed C3 district is inconsistent with the existing single-family residential uses of the surrounding RR zone properties and is inconsistent with the trends in land development in the general vicinity. Outside of the adjacent RR zone areas, there are large single-family residential developments to the north, which is Fox Run subdivision about 300 feet to the north in the R2 district. To the west, which is Antique Forest subdivision located about 900 feet to the west in the R2 district. East, Cobblestone Ridge subdivision located about 1,500 feet to the east in the R3 district. Also about half-mile east of this site and west of the commercial zones in the DDA district along Ford Road, a senior residential living facility was recently approved. Therefore, the planned, zoned, and developed pattern of Ford Road west of the commercial zones and DDA district strongly suggests that westward suburban commercial sprawl is not desirable and that there are viable areas for continued residential development west of the DDA. Finally, 10th, if a rezoning is requested, what is the impact on the township infrastructure? As previously noted, the Township Board of Trustees resolution to adopt the master plan on June 24th of this year includes a condition that neighborhood node 12 not be implemented until after the recommendations of SEMCOG's road safety audit are implemented. Because the recommendations of SEMCOG's road safety audit have not been implemented, it is premature to consider implementation of neighborhood node number 12, and it is inappropriate to rezone the site to C3 due to the more intense land uses permitted in the C3 zoning district. Therefore, based on our analysis, we recommend denial of the C3 zoning for the subject parcel. However, we would support a rezoning to R3 to correspond with the medium-low density residential classification on the future land use map. And we may recommend approval of a future zoning that corresponds with neighborhood node number 12 and the neighborhood node policies of the master plan. And as previously stated, Planning Division staff will be working with a consultant soon to prepare associated zoning district standards for mixed-use criteria to apply to the neighborhood node areas on the future land use map. The last thing that I want to point out in our staff report is some of the accompanying maps that are included. And we include some of these maps just to, we have the appendices that include the C3 intent, the permitted land uses of the C3 district, and many pages of the master plan that include neighborhood nodes and a description of those policies. We also include neighborhood node site analysis in our staff report as well. So we have a lot of pages directly from the master plan that we attach to our staff report just to underline the fact of what the nodes are, why they were planned that way, and how they were intentionally planned in terms of the recommended uses, the recommended prohibited uses, and some of the design standards. The last couple of maps that I wanted to share was first, some of the surrounding zoning districts. So on the left side of the page here, the site, the subject site is hatched here at the southwest corner of Beck and Ford Road. And I wanted to compare and contrast that to the commercial areas located around the intersection of Ford and Canton Center Road. So this area is shaded in pink in terms of the commercial area, it's zone C2. The important item that I wanted to note was that the pink area is, it's the C2 zoning district, and outlined in green, that green outline is the DDA district, and the pink shading is the central business district overlay. So there's three things that correspond to this area. First, the boundary of the C2 district matches the boundary of the DDA district, which matches the central business district overlay. So the zoning district of the C2, the central business district overlay, and the DDA district, they share the same western boundary, which shows that this is intentionally planned and implemented in terms of the boundary of the commercial areas, and that there's not intent to continue the commercial sprawl going west. And at this north-south road, just to the west of that area is Gorman Road, and this is an area where there was previously a senior living development site plan approved for that area. So west of the commercial area, there's an approved residential development, and there's an existing residential development even farther to the west before getting to the intersection of Ford Road and Beck Road. The other map that we want to include is from our future land use map that shows that the red area is the commercial area, and this is very similar to the commercial zoning districts that are noted on the zoning map. So our future land use map of our adopted master plan aligns with that western boundary of the commercial area, and it's consistent with the current zoning and the current DDA boundary, and how there are the medium and low density residential uses between the commercial boundary west of Canton Center Road and a neighborhood node. So there's quite a bit of distance, there's quite a bit of developed character there, and that will be important when the zoning standards of a mixed-use node are considered for this particular intersection, because the context matters, the surrounding land uses and character of the areas matter, and those will be considered at the time that those zoning district standards are presented to the Planning Commission and the board. So that concludes our staff report for this rezoning request, and I'll be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Patrick. Please stay tuned. I'm sure there will be questions. Is the project sponsor here? Mike, tell us all about why you want to do this.
Good evening, everyone. Always pleased to be back here in Canton Township. My name is Mike Knowles. I'm with the Umlor Group, 49287 West Road in Wixom. So, thank you, Mr. Sloan. Usually when I come before y'all, you're used to me touting my recommendation for approval from the fire department and the planning department and the engineering department and all of the outside agencies, and 5 meetings before this, and unanimous votes and all that. But I find myself in a slightly different position this evening. So Mr. Sloan did point out 3 very important things. First is that we don't have a perfect mechanism. We don't have the correct mechanism to do what we want to do. That's acknowledged. C3, the plan that we have in front of you, is a mixed-use plan. It has multifamily, which isn't permitted in the C3. So we already from the get-go, our plan doesn't match our zoning designation, which isn't necessarily the end of the world. Happens all the time. Just like over on Westridge, when we did the approvals on Westridge, we had to rezone a piece to R3 and then go to PDD afterwards once the underlying density had been established for the parallel plan. So it happens. It's a process, right? This is not a one-step and done process. And so we thought, let's get the zoning district that we feel best matches the intent of what the applicant wishes to do there, and perhaps best matches what is in the brand new master plan. So first of all, a mismatch in our request tonight and what our site plan shows. Second is we certainly do have the cart in front of the horse, right? So we don't have the traffic study back from SEMCOG. That's the prerequisite to be able to implement the brand new neighborhood node number 12. And we also don't have any text to rely on. I like to go dive deep into the text so that I can show you where we're consistent with the text or where we deviate from the text. But I don't really have that benefit of that tonight. So we've got the wrong mechanism, and we've got the cart in front of the horse. But even better, Mr. Sloan just gave us 9 wonderful reasons to say no. 50 ways to leave your lover. This is 9 ways to say no to C3. Well, it's not really C3 that we are after. So even though we are starting off on the wrong foot without recommendations for approval, and we don't have an exact match here, I think that we can have a worthwhile conversation about what it is, the vision that the applicant would like to bring to this corner, and perhaps you could illuminate it a little bit more on your vision for the neighborhood node number 12. I couldn't help but think, as I was listening to Mr. Sloan read the 9 reasons why C3 doesn't work here, that if you just substituted the word neighborhood node for the C3, they would also apply. It's right next to RR. Well, sure, there's lots of RR in a lot of places that are misaligned with the master plan. As Trustee Summers has pointed out over the years, the master plan is a changing document with different visions, and as the community changes, so do the visions change. And so, we thought tonight would be a great opportunity to hear directly from the Planning Commission what your vision for this corner is, and also as the liaison to maybe hear what the Board of Trustees might think about this as well, as it relates to the intentions of the landowner, the applicant here tonight. So on the screen you see 2 examples. One of them is in Canton. It's at Denton and Cherry. It is a market very similar to how I'm reading the neighborhood node, the intent, the building the facade forward, kind of a walkable community, attractive architecture. And above, this is not one of our applicants' buildings, but it's a similar building over at Maple and Orchard Lake. That one, very similar architecture. I know Chairperson Zuber can tell us all about whether the architecture is lovely or not lovely. But very similar facade forward, pedestrian welcoming type of architecture with quality materials, stone, limestone accents. The bottom one's got some very cool modern metal elements as well. One with gas, one without gas. So I wanted to put these both up there that says, I think this is what you're looking for, and I think this is what our landowner wants to do at this location. So let's take a look at some of the other slides. Next slide, please, Mr. Sloan. So this is a rendering of our site plan. And what I did was I superimposed it with neighborhood number 12, node number 12's goals. And we align in some places, and those are the boxes that are green. And we don't align in other places, and those are the boxes that are red. And so how do we align? So it's a mixed-use plan. C3 doesn't allow me to do a mixed-use plan. Nothing really allows me to do to do this plan. None of the current zoning classifications allow this, other than a PDD. We could do a PDD, and what I'm asking you tonight is we could go back and amend our application. A rose is a rose, no matter what you call it. If this plan is something that works for you, but for this, or maybe if you add that, that's what we're fishing for here tonight. And so what we've done here is we've mixed the attainable housing, a high-density multifamily housing, with a retail marketplace, also with a proposed playground incorporating the open spaces and the pedestrian connectivity throughout the site. We've got more sidewalks per acre on this plan than most of the plans I've ever brought forward in front of this room for the last 20-ish years. So number one, neighborhood 12 wants to see mixed use. We're providing mixed use. It wants to see restaurants. We've got 2 restaurants associated with the market in the upper right-hand corner. One thing that is explicitly prohibited is the fuel, and I understand that that may be the item that gives everyone heartburn. And so I would ask you to consider, but for the fuel, does this plan work for you? I don't want to necessarily discount the fuel, because I think I can make at least a reasonable argument that it's one more product available at the market. In fact, it's one of the most highly regulated products. When you go to the market and you're trying to pick up a few tomatoes and some cocktails and some last-minute items, because it's a neighborhood node, a market, and you also need to refill, what's the difference, really? And so the gas component of it could only be allowed if we were to switch over to a PDD. And my question to you is, should we do that? Is that something that you'd be willing to consider? Or is that DOA, no matter what we call it, whether we call it R3, whether we call it PDD, whether we call it Node 12? So that's one of the main questions that I'd like to ask you tonight, but also I'd like to ferret out a little bit more about what the goal of Node 12 really is, because but for the gas, is this an approvable plan? Is this what you're shooting for in Node 12? Some of the other things where you see I've noted PDD question mark next to the first one is the gas station, but then there's 4 down below, which are some of the other goals of the nodes. And public art, filling some off-site sidewalk gaps, doing some of those other mechanisms, the public benefit mechanisms of all the PDDs that I've ever brought forward to you, or that any applicant's ever brought forward to you. It's an exchange. It's an exchange for, well, we know this doesn't match exactly right, whether it's setbacks or lot size, or whether it's use, in this particular case, gas, but will it make sense if the public benefit is great enough? And that question is really a very subjective question. It may be that there's nothing that we could do to convince you that fuel is a reasonable option at this particular location, or maybe it is. And so I guess the real question is, okay, if not C3, does PDD get you there? And because that's an easy enough redo, but there's no point in us coming back in a month or 2 months to have the same conversation if that is just a non-starter. Just let us know, right? That's the whole part of this process, is that we can figure out the answers to the big questions very early in the process, so that as we work through the process and it gets more and more expensive to do the engineering, to do the traffic studies, to do the wetland delineations and the tree surveys and all the things that cost a whole bunch of money and take a year's time and about 10 meetings, this is meeting number 1. So we're fishing for some answers for you. Does this match? Is it just the gas? And could the gas be permissible if we hit more high points on this list of missing here in the nodes? That's the question. Next slide, please. So this is more of the same. It's the engineering version of the rendering plans. This is the plan you have in your packet. I don't know that the rendering plan with the landscaping made it into your packet or not. Again, you see a picture of that same store that I had on the first slide, but you see some other angles. The first picture, it's very beautiful. You can't tell the difference between the market and this particular one. And as you go around, you can see how the logistics of a fueling station that fits in with this same type of architecture could be fit in to this vision of this mixed use plan. So I wanted to show you kind of how that looks. You can see on our plan where the canopy for the fueling is and where the canopy for the fueling is at this particular location. Very, very similar. And would that match the neighborhood node that is yet to be written and requires further study? Next slide, please. So the argument for why not here, I think Mr. Sloan made it very clear that, anything east of Canton Center Road is your central business district. No question about it, which is why all of your gas stations are east of Canton Center Road. But the concept of the neighborhood node, the small market, the quick hit, this is not an attraction from somebody from I-275 wants to stop and get gas. They're never going to make it to this neighborhood. It's not a regional attractor. It's the people that are maybe exiting from the new Mecca temple and on their way home, and they're going to stop and get some food and maybe refill their tank. Anything west of Canton Center, there isn't that neighborhood convenience. So don't think of it just as it's a fueling station, you must say no. Think of it as a market. Think of it as a place where you can get food and stabilities for the neighborhood. It's not a regional attractor. No one's ever going to make it past Canton Center Road if they're just looking for fuel. But if they're convenient, if I'm mowing my grass and I'm over in Ridgewood, or I'm mowing my grass and I'm over in Harvest Arbor, or I'm mowing my grass and I'm over at Pulte's on the north side of Ford Road, next to the Parkside. If I'm in one of these other neighborhoods that I've worked with you all to create, that's where I'm going to go to refill my tank. That's where I'm going to go to get a can of gas for my snow blower, so I can snow blow my side entry driveway pads. So anyways, the point of this slide is west of Canton Center Road, I don't really have a choice of a quick, convenient market that also includes fuel. And so again, I ask you, what's the vision for this particular intersection and the to-be-written text following the traffic study? Next slide, please. So that concludes my remarks about this particular rezoning application. I'm very interested to hear your feedback on these very important topics because the applicant has a great desire to develop our neighborhood, this neighborhood, into something that is what you have a vision for, what they have a vision for, and what works for the existing residences. And the alternatives, as I said, a rose is a rose by any other name. We could work our way through a PDD or a conditional C3. I don't know why it's a conditional R3. I guess it would be a conditional C3, but I do have multifamily in there too, so maybe it's a conditional R3. Wait for the neighborhood node ordinance, develop it as 2 lots, which would go directly against the master plan, but it would match the zoning. Or I could develop it into 3 units per acre per the current zoning, which goes against the brand new master plan. And so while, yes, I admit there's a mismatch between our request tonight, and you really don't have much of an option here for approving this particular request, we want to come back. And we want to come back with something that is approvable. And the only way for us to do that is to hear from each and every one of you over here what your vision for this node is, and whether or not fuel is a deal killer right from the get-go. Because there are plenty of development options. Again, you can look at that site plan that I have in front of you and take the canopy off and say, is that the perfect node? Yeah, it skips over these large sections from the commercial central business district, large sections of residential to this busy intersection. But isn't that what the node's trying to do, is to have some conveniences in proximity to all of these neighborhoods that we've built together? And so that's really my question to the commission tonight. And as Trustee Foster, I'd like to hear the voice of the board as well as to what your vision for this is, because we know we're early, we know some revisions are required, and we would like your direction so that when we do come back, I can proudly say that Mr. Sloan has recommended approval of our application, but only if you can give us some direction as to which way to go with the modifications that are needed. Does our plan come close? And if so, how close? And what else is needed to get us there? Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, we did not open a public hearing, so I'm entertaining motions.
Madam Chairman, I move to open the public hearing.
All right, I have a motion by Commissioner Weber and support by Commissioner Janowski. All in favor, please say aye. 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 All right, I'm sure,
Firmly establish the ground rules, because obviously we got a lot of
yes.
people here to talk.
Thank you. Yes. So we have, if you want to say anything, please wait to be recognized and raise your hand as the gentleman. Okay, you can be first, but hold off. What we would like is you have a 3-minute limit. And we would like you to come to the microphone and state your name and address for the record. And please be courteous. If someone's already made your point, we heard it. We don't need everybody to come up and say the same thing. So if you have something new to present, we would love to hear it. But if there's 10 people that want to talk and everybody talks about the same thing, and we would appreciate if you don't. So please keep that in mind. Sir, if you want to come to the mic and state your name and address for the record.
Looks familiar.
Good evening.
Good evening.
And thanks for holding this. It's a very important meeting for the township. I would want to say that,
Could you tell us your name and address for the record, sir?
yes. Greg Green, 46890 Creeks Bend Drive, just off of Beck, between Beck and Canton Center. Many of you know me, and some other people might know me too. The township has gone through a lot in terms of growth over the last couple of decades. One of the things that you'll notice has been important, is that from Canton Center West, it's been very quiet, residential, with the exception of Michigan Avenue and pockets at the intersection of like Hanford and Ford. Basically, going west from Canton Center, residential, all residential, senior residential, one landscaping company, one auto repair got in there, so on and so forth. But it's all residential. I would urge the Planning Commission to keep it that way. It's not a coincidence that that was planned like that. And there's plenty of commercial east of Canton Center and other sites to have this. Looking at the map that was shown tonight in terms of the development of that corner, the only thing that I would agree with was the multifamily, which is not the proper zoning, for even rural. I believe R3 wouldn't work for that either. But if you had 4 buildings of multifamily, I'd be more receptive to that than seeing the retail and seeing the restaurant, et cetera, et cetera. So my request is a denial on the C3, and basically for the future, anything that even has a gas station or, convenience store. One thing I will say is we had the opportunity to have neighborhood shopping in any one of our areas to the west of Canton Center, and we never did that because the public wanted retail, or not retail, but wanted residential all throughout. Many of you will recall, if you've been here long enough, there was a chance for a water park at Ridge and Ford Road. That was denied. There was a chance for a hospital at Beck and Getty's. That was denied. The quietness west of Canton Center, I think, should be maintained. So I hope you'll deny this request.
Thank you. All right, the gentleman in the corner. I appreciate the applause, but we have a long meeting, so I would request that you not applaud everybody. Thank you. I just went in order by who raised their hand first, so he had his hand up. All right, please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Wissam Fadlala, and I own a property just west of this proposed development. Just FYI, also, I'm also the chairman of the Planning Commission in Dearborn Heights, so I know how this meeting goes, so I appreciate what you guys do. This subject property has been semi-abandoned for so many years. The distance between the property that we own in the other residential area to the west of that to the next shopping area falls about 2 miles, right? So I think this project will serve the purpose of, for the community, okay? I am for this project. We also own the property to the west of that also. And I have my wife over there, she owns that property. She's also for it. I don't want her to come back up. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to start in the front here, sir. Come on up. State your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Danny Baidoon, 502 Cherry Orchard Road in Canton. I proudly called Canton Township for the past 6 years in my home. I am both a residential and commercial realtor, as well as a licensed mortgage professional with nearly 20 years of experience helping property owners, developers, and municipalities across Michigan bring quality projects to life. This evening, I'm here to speak in support of Mr. Yusuf Shahadi and his request for rezoning the approval of a mixed-use development proposed at the corner of Ford and Beck Road. We appreciate the township showing potential support on the multi-unit and retail components of this plan. Our goal tonight is to simply address the fueling station portion, which has prompted some understandable hesitation. Mr. Shahadi is not a speculative developer. As a long-standing member of the community, a Canton resident since 2008, and a local business owner since 2007, over the years, he has successfully owned and operated 3 gas stations and 3 Tim Horton locations, all of which have maintained strong reputations for cleanliness, safety, and community service. He also currently owns approximately 20 acres of land in Canton, designated for future residential development, further demonstrating his long-term commitment to the township's growth and prosperity. The project before you is a thoroughly designed, mixed-use plaza that integrates retail, dining, and neighborhood conveniences with a cohesive and attractive layout. The proposed gas station is not a traditional model. It's a modern, environmentally conscious facility, including EV charging stations, enhanced landscaping, and aesthetic architecture consistent with the Canton's high standards. This corner, Ford and Beck, is one of the last major undeveloped intersections along Ford Road. Allowing this mixed-use plan to move forward, including the fueling station, would activate an underutilized site, generate substantial new tax revenue, and create local employment opportunities, all while providing a clean, well-operated service amenity for residents and commuters. As both a local realtor and a resident, I can attest that this type of high-quality, community-centered development will add tangible value to surrounding properties, enhance convenience, and strengthen the Canton's overall commercial landscape. In closing, I respectfully urge the Commission to support this rezoning request. Mr. Shahadi's track record, investment in Canton, and a thoughtful approach to development make him an ideal owner-operator for this project. Approving this plan will reflect the township's vision for responsible, forward-thinking growth, the kind of progress that continues to make Canton one of the most desirable places to live and work. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Sir, yep. Yeah, you in the middle there, sorry, yep. Very hard to identify people in the audience. Indistinct. Good evening.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Let me lower this. I don't want to. I'm a resident in Canton.
What's your name, sir?
My name is Mohammed Atwi, and I live on 5907 Valley View in that fellow creek. And that's what I'm here. I'm here to. I've been here since 2016, and it's approximately, depending on what time you drive, 10 minutes, 2.2 miles to get to a gas station from my house. So it takes me 20 minutes round trip to fuel up, whether before I go to work or after I come home for the next day. It takes me 20 minutes to get to work. So it's an area that's growing over time, as you all know. I'm not saying anything that nobody knows. The intersection there, it's vacant. There's nothing there. The project would bring much needed convenience and access to everyday essentials for people who live and drive in this area. The west side of Canton has grown significantly, more homes, more families, and more traffic, but still lack nearby options for quick stops. Having a clean, modern gas station convenience store right here would make daily life easier for residents and commuters. So beyond the convenience of this project, brings real benefits, and it reduces unnecessary driving that we deal with. That's the part I think I've always said I wish there was something here And we always get caught up. And I speak on behalf of me as a resident and a lot of residents that couldn't make it here tonight that live within that area. So it's something I think that's needed for a convenience. Somebody brought up many times I gotta do that 20-minute round trip just to put gas on my lawnmower or whatever. Well needed. It's becoming more dense population-wise, more cars, more people. And if anything, I think it would reduce the already highly dense area on Canton Center Road and Ford Road. It reduced some of that traffic. I think it's well needed for the community. I hope you guys can see it that way. Thank you for your time. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. All right, do you have your hand up, sir? Okay. I'm going to go back to the third row. The gentleman with this hand up there with the, yes, you, sorry.
Good evening, Commission. Matt Best, 47082 Ashley Court. I want to thank you for your time today. In looking, you've heard Patrick Sloan's report, and you've heard that it does not meet the requirements under the C3, nor does it meet the requirements under the PDD. However, we're sitting here talking about a very dense site plan with high mixed use and all the bells and whistles that are added in there to make it look attractive as a development. Speaking to someone who's been in government 30 years and been doing this for a long time, you look at that corner and you know its history and you know its commercial use. You also know it's hard to get in and out. And you also know it's a very small site. Plopping all those things into one location just to show the bells and whistles that with the parking, you know, the park, the gas station, all those uses. I think Patrick Sloan is the planner has made a very good case against approving tonight. However, I think it's important to talk about, and since there's a platform to talk about the neighborhood node and the future use, because I think this use is much too dense for the location. However, there is historical commercial use on this site, and I think it behooves the Planning Commission to give direction back to the planner and look at what they would recommend at this location as part of the neighborhood node. I mean, with the density that's being requested tonight, you have problems with road access with Wayne County roads, traffic increases, safety issues which are already there. We're still waiting on the safety report from SEMCOG. Proximity to residential and increasing that density beyond where it's at is a problem. The lighting of that location is going to impact the neighbors. Even though you have the river across the street and the buffer, you're still going to have an increased in and out of light. There needs to be significant improvement at that intersection, millions of dollars in order to make this viable, this heavy density of use. But I think there a commercial use at that location and some of the vacant properties to the west at a lower average daily trip, so the number of cars going in and out of the site. I think your planner can give you some really good recommendations for a commercial use at that site and help to design that neighborhood node better for the residents that live there than this high-density commercial use. There's a reason why the Central Business District and the DDA are where they are and the residential district is where it is. But the neighborhood node is a great idea. And my comment is because I don't want you to throw it out of hand. I think the commercial use at that location and a little bit further down where there's those long, deep properties can bring a benefit to the township and the surrounding residents, maybe at a lower density, lower daily trip commercial use. And while I appreciate the effort of UMLOR and the group that's come in today to put together a site plan that meets all the check boxes, I think it's too dense for the location, and the Planning Commission should give the planner and his team some additional guidance moving forward on the neighborhood node based on tonight's discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. All right, there's someone else in the front 3 rows. Yes, sir, in the middle. Yep, sorry, yep.
Commission. Good evening, everybody. My name is Glenn Sparshu. I live at 47862 10 Point in Fox Run. Years, and I've lived in that subdivision for about 15 years.
Can you make sure you're talking into the mic because you won't be recorded if you're not? Thank you.
Were you able to hear everything I said?
Mostly, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
My point here, I agreed with the first speaker and with the last speaker. I adore what Canton has done all the years of managing the development and limiting it west of Canton Center, and I strongly don't believe that that site should be developed C3. My principal comment today, though, was really piggybacking on the safety. I appreciate that SEMCOG, the township, has already recognized that there's a major study. The Road Commission report that was just updated in October had that intersection as one of the three most of interest to update because of concerns about it. I walk that intersection. I ride my bike every week that intersection. If you haven't, there are no crossing walks. There's no pedestrian lights. If you cross north of Ford, you literally have 20 inches between the road and the guardrail that people navigate that, regardless of what happens on that site. It's clear something will happen on that site, so I'm not opposed to the development, but I would just urge the commission not to allow any development that would increase pedestrian traffic or vehicular traffic until the intersection updates are made for sidewalks and so people can cross that safely. To put anything there, people from our neighborhood and others are going to go increase, trying to go whatever is there, maybe not if it's other residential, but anything commercial. And I just think that's reckless, and that's a harsh word to use, but I think it would literally be reckless to allow that before those improvements were made. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, somebody else in the, yes, sir, in the end there. Yep, you, yep, yeah, the green shirt.
Good evening for all of you. Hi. And good evening to you too. Patrick Sloan has given a beautiful explanation of why and why not. I'll tell about me also.
Please give your name and address for the record.
I'll tell that also. My name is Kesava Kunapareddy. I live right here. So I've been in Canton for 24 years. I own around 8 acres of property, buildings, house. I lived in a condo. I was a vice president in a condo association. So many condos have this, no? They don't want more people to rent their condos. You know why? Anybody knows why? Because the renters don't have as much interest on those properties as the owners have. Same thing with Canton. Developers come, we appreciate that. Designers come from other parts, we appreciate that. They don't live here. People invest. I bought 8 acres, I bought 20 acres. I don't have any other property in the whole of Michigan. People come, good, you build, good. You're only looking at business. Do it in the business district. Very good. There's already a master plan. There's Michigan Avenue. So when you do this, I mean, I was building this house for 4.5 years. There was so much of easements on this property. I had to work with before Patrick, there was somebody else. It was a tough thing, and the variance was also given for me. There's a creek that goes through that. So it was a lot of difficulty. We built this house. April of this year, I got my occupancy. And then somebody suddenly comes and says, no, we're going to do this development. I mean, right now, I can't turn left onto Beck Road, as is, without any development. On Ford, it takes 25 minutes to get to 275. I don't see so many accidents happening between Beck and the west side of Beck, as many as I see on the north of Canton Center. The city is proposing to develop the Ford corridor. They're spending $65 million to develop it. If you do this kind of a busy development in the rest of the city also, you'll end up spending another $70 million to develop between Ridge and Canton Center Road. Many thoughts, many ideas. I'm a businessman. I would encourage people to do business, make money. But if you live here, you want to have your business gas station right next to your house, I'll be the first one to come and support you. No, you live somewhere else and you want your gas station here, and then or you develop it and you're out of here. You don't stay here. There's so many properties today on the right of me, and on the right means that is south of that site, beyond, already bought by builders, waiting to make it high-density housing. But now, thank God for his ordinances that you guys are there, ordinances we have. They're still, they have to come, present, get an opportunity to build it, all that.
Thank you, sir. Your 3,
3 minutes is up, sir.
I'm sorry, but like this is, give me 2 more minutes.
no, sorry.
Everyone gets 3 minutes, sir.
Everybody, we
Okay, sorry.
understand your point.
Thank you. So I oppose
Thank
this.
you.
Please do continue to support.
Thank you. All right, who else wanted to say something? Okay, ma'am in the green hoodie, yep.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Karen Rickerman. I live at 6505 North Beck Road. I've been a resident for nearly 40 years. And I have to agree with your Planning Commission committee that they deny on 9 separate requests. And if he's denying, I don't understand why we're even here. It seems like it should be denied. It should not be zoned commercial. It's a terrible intersection for traffic, as they said. We don't need any commercial west of Canton Center Road. I mean, it's right there. You talk about filling up for your lawnmower. It takes you 5 minutes to go to Myers and fill up. It's ridiculous. And if you start with this, I heard all these some people say they have other properties. You rezone this, you're setting a precedent for it to continue. And then it's going to be all commercial down Ford Road, and that's not what the residents want. We bought here because of more of the rural area and not homes right on top of each other, let alone a business right next to us. You can't approve this. That's my opinion.
Thank you. Thank you. There's somebody else in that row. Okay, the woman in the light sweater, yeah. Then I'll go to the next woman. Thank you. Good evening.
Hello, my name is Michelle Merkel. I live at 48240 Deer Trail Drive. I'm in the Fox Run subdivision. And we've been in Canton since 1996 and in this house since 2004. I've raised my kids here, we've gone to the schools, and now I have my mom and senior living here, so I've kind of done it all here. I'm vehemently opposed to this. I don't want any commercial development. I don't want a retail store there. I will echo what the person before me said. The reason that I think most of us chose to live in a quieter western area of Canton is because, we want something quiet and residential. It is not 20 minutes to go get gas. It is 5 minutes, and it is 1 mile down the road to get to Meyer Speedway. And Kroger's even closer than that if you need to pick up any kind of supplies. So I'm not in favor of a convenience store, an ice cream shop, and anything. I understand something's going to go there, and I think to make it, low to medium density housing would be consistent with what's around. I'm really concerned about my property values and those of my neighbors if, commercial or retail space of any kind goes in there. I feel like you have enough common sense not to put a gas station there, so that would be, of course, the worst of all, but, I just think we want to keep our residential neighborhoods residential. And I guess I'd also just like to say that I think it's not really realistic in this case to think that you're going to put something walkable there, because Ford Road isn't really walkable. I mean, I would never send, if I had young kids still, I would never send them out to cross Ford Road to go walk to a convenience store there. It's just not safe. There's accidents there all the time. So I am just here to implore you to please keep commercial space out of there, to keep retail space out of there, and to keep even multifamily housing out of there. I would like to see it just stay as residential. So if you want to put in another neighborhood or a park, that's in keeping consistent with what's already surrounding it. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, the person next to her had her hand up next, so. Good evening.
My name's Lisa Bank. I live at 48072 Deer Trail Drive. Yes, we did carpool because traffic is horrible along Ford Road and Beck, in case you guys didn't know. I think you did. Like many of the other people here, and I'm sure many of you, Ford Road and Beck have horrible traffic. If you're there during rush hour-ish, anywhere between 7 and 9, or 3 and 5, or 3 and 6, any given day of the week during school days, you're dealing with, let's face it, teenagers going to the high school back and forth, and it's very congested. It's nearly impossible to get in and out of Fox Run onto Beck Road. If you're driving west to Ann Arbor, you might think that's easy. It's not, because there's a charter school and there's no lanes. And so the parents trying to drop their kids off into that school, they're all pulled off onto the shoulder waiting to get into that parking lot to get there. So then we developed this site with anything other than residential, especially a gas station. Guess what's going to happen? We now have people jamming up that part of eastbound Ford Road or north or southbound Beck, trying to get into that intersection. Even with the traffic studies, which I do completely appreciate and value having done, that intersection is always going to be a mess. Let's assume we can get that fixed. Let's say we find the money and somehow magically fix the traffic issue. Is there going to be funding for sidewalks? Because a convenience store or any sort of retail at that intersection is going to rely on people being able to drive there, or possibly, if it's going to be some sort of a Cherry Hill Village type of situation, you want people walking there. There is no way any of us in our right minds as adults are going to be walking across Ford Road or Beck. I don't foresee any of our children doing it and surviving. So I think that it's just not a feasible location for any of that kind of usage. To also piggyback off of many of you, most of the people who have moved into housing, new or older, I've been here since 2003 living in my house, have moved into housing west of Canton Center, west of Beck, because it is more rural. We didn't want to live in neighborhoods where we could walk to a Kroger, a Meijer, or any of the very lovely businesses that are along Ford Road. Wanted the rural residential feel. And to have that eliminated or messed with is not what we wanted. So to change that and to potentially change our property values is not appreciated. So again, please do not change the zoning for this. Keep it residential, even if it's some multifamily or
time
a
is up.
slightly more dense.
Thank you.
We would appreciate
Your
it.
time is up, unfortunately. Thank you. Okay, the gentleman in the corner there, yes. State your name and address for the record. Good
My name is
evening.
Manohar Gedam. I live in 919 Aylesbury Court on
I'm having a
Salts
hard
Road.
time hearing you. I'm sorry. Could you please repeat your name?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, my name is Manohar Gedam. I live in 919 Aylesbury Court on Salts Road. I oppose this proposal, being that I see so many accidents happening lately. Specific to that, because I used to drop my kids during morning hours. I see so much traffic on Beck Road and Ford intersections. So I see in the morning time, almost 4,000 people go to a PSEP school, right? So during that time, I see so much traffic in the morning hours, especially during academic year. I see a lot of traffic in the morning hours as well as in evening time. So I don't like this proposal. That being one of the reasons. If it is anything commercial, I don't like that proposal.
Thank you. All right, one more. You, sir? Yep, with the curly hair? Yep.
Good evening. My name is Bilal Atwi. I live on 5907 Valley View Drive. It's just right here. The neighborhood It's called Fellows Creek, not even a quarter-mile away. I lived in Canton for about a decade now. I love Canton. I love the community. I love the schools. I'm a current senior at Salem High School, currently the valedictorian. So, on my way to school, every single day, I go up on Ford, turn left on Beck, and keep going down Beck. A lot of the time, I'm out of gas. Sure, I could have filled it up the day before like my dad tells me to, but I'm running late. I also work in Canton, on Beck, Dental Care of Canton, and I'm just 15 minutes late, 10 minutes late, because I gotta go to the Speedway on Canton Center in Ford. If I were to have a gas station right next to my house on Ford and Beck, it would make life more convenient, it would be easier, and I wouldn't feel so isolated. I mean, I love Canton. I'd love to raise a family in Canton. I know it's only been 10 years. A lot of people here have lived in Canton their whole life. I'm 17. You guys are much more wiser than me. You know more than me. But so what? The next generation wants to grow. It's okay if we move the ordinance to C3 past Canton Center, west. Overall, it's good to change. It's okay sometimes to change. If we were to have more gas stations, more shops, make Canton feel more homey. It's okay sometimes to have stuff within walking distance. And overall, I mean, we just feel so isolated. I always tell my dad this all the time. I want to live next to my brothers. I want us to all live in Canton. I want to open a shop in Canton. Even we could have a university of Canton, let's do it. I love Canton. But we can't have it if we're going to be so east all the time. I have to drive half an hour to this, 20 minutes to that. Why can't we just have a gas station and make life more convenient? Thank you.
Thank you. There was one more, there was somebody in the back who had his hand up before, so I'll come back to you, sir. But did you have something to say? Go ahead.
Good evening, Jim Costeva, 1015 Ridge Road. And I'm here to support the Planning Commission and the Township Board and the well-documented staff report. The Planning Commission and the Township Board recently adopted a master plan. It took nearly 2 years or over 2 years of deliberations and work and effort. And that master plan concluded that what should be located or what might be considered for the southwest corner of Ford Road and Beck was to be a neighborhood node number 12. Number 1, it was not even to be considered, thanks to the language added by the Township Board in its adoption of the master plan, that a neighborhood node, whether you call it a neighborhood node zoning or as the developer's representative may refer to it as a PUD, it should not even be considered until the recommendations of the Roadway Safety Committee on the audit are implemented. That is the language of the Township Board, that those roadway safety recommendations be implemented. That's the northbound and southbound turn lanes, it's the left turn signalization for northbound and southbound Beck. It includes sidewalk, pedestrian improvements, and intersection lighting. The developer's representative asked for to engage a dialogue with the Planning Commission regarding the vision. What's the vision that the community has? The community spent 2 years deliberating the vision for its future land use plan. The result was the documentation of neighborhood number 12, and it does not include automobile-centric land uses. I concur with the well-documented recommendations of Director Sloan, and would encourage the Planning Commission to support its efforts, support its master plan, and deny this use and reject any consideration on this corner until the recommendations of the roadway safety audit are implemented. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, sir with the hat, come on up. That was easy. I can identify him.
My age, it's hard enough to get up here.
I understand.
My name's Tom Ryan, 5969 River Run Court. I'm president of the Fox Run Homeowners Association. And we've had 3 or 4 here already talk to you, and I agree with everything they say. Safety is a joke. You can't walk down Ford Road anywhere going west of Canton Center. I've done that many times, and you have your life in your own hands. It's really a joke. Try and turn left coming Beck Road onto Ford. It's impossible. You're there for an hour waiting. Everything is dangerous. And the thing I wondered, if you make that change, does that mean you can put a liquor license into that market and that gas station? Would you be, I'm asking you, does that make it open for a liquor license?
Don't have anything to do with
Beer and
liquor
wine?
licenses.
You think you're gonna put a market there and a gas station, a convenience thing? Everybody's gonna run in and grab it and they're not gonna grab a beer? I think it's terrible. I think it could become a place where people will congregate and it won't be the kind of people that we want near our residences. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Anyone else? I haven't seen any other hands up. One in the back? Okay, go ahead, sir.
So my name is Frank Watts, 48341 Riverway Drive, Fellows Creek Estates, which is on Ford Road West, but on the north side. So we abut to Fox Run. I pretty much was listening for everyone who's against it. So I've amended what I was going to say down to just a recommendation. Definitely no commercial, no gas station. If you do zone it for R3, I think it was being talked about, the low to medium density, I would suggest that it be something similar to the small subdivision that's just one court in off of Ford Road to the south, but further west. There's maybe 12 or so homes in there. Something like that is low density to me. And also, along with the point that the gentleman just before me was making about don't do anything until the road study, SEMCOG, is done, I would hope that even if there is widening of Ford there and there is some sort of low to medium density, subdivision or development going in there, I wouldn't recommend putting an entryway on Ford Road. Make them come in on Beck, because that's what Fox Run has to do. And Fox Run is bigger and has been there longer. And to give that, regardless of how big it is when it's done as some sort of residential, to put an entry and exit on Ford Road that close to the intersection, you're asking for problems, I think. So that's all I had to say.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, move to close the public hearing.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Okay, we have a motion to close the public hearing by Commissioner Watkins and support by Commissioner Janowski. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. I'm going to start with Commissioner Eggenberger tonight.
Wow.
Since you live in this
Wow,
neighborhood.
that's if I've ever
They're
seen
laughing because all of you were unable to attend the meeting where I spent the entire time talking about, trying to understand what a node was and what they were going to put in there. And I'll tell you, no gas station is what helped me decide maybe a neighborhood node would be okay. The last thing we need in there is a gas station. The last thing we need in there is a quick stop place. It is too dangerous. It's not something that we can have at this intersection. And yes, I live near there, and I do drive to get my gas, and I survive it, and perhaps that's a good life lesson to be able to do that and have to do it. I especially like what was said in that there needs to be a traffic study, and the traffic study needs to be implemented before we talk about doing anything here. It's too dangerous to think about putting anything in there. We need to get the consultants to talk about what it's going to be and what it could look like and what could be safe. It's just not a spot that we could do anything like this. And again, you missed an entire meeting of me going on like this. So, you know, you're probably lucky that you're getting my shortened version of it. But yeah, no.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Singh.
Yeah, I think we have spent, I don't know, countless hours talking about these nodes, multiple meetings. And I'm pretty sure that the city planner has informed the applicants about our viewpoint and where we stand. But regardless, we are again here spending and wasting more time, in my opinion. A development on this intersection, bringing a gas station, when we know that a gas station probably is being planned a mile from that. Cherry Hill Village, I think I read somewhere in your report that there is somebody interested in putting a gas station there.
Yeah, there's been discussions with one developer near the core, a little outside the core of Cherry Hill Village.
So that's an area where it is a possibility, and we might allow that, right? That's a zoned area where a gas station can come.
Yeah, gas stations are permitted uses in the Cherry Hill Village overlay.
That would be within a mile of this location. As far as grocery shoppings for a planned building which is coming there, Maka, we have Greenland, which we recently approved, and it is running very well. And that's, again, within a mile, maximum 2 miles. So I don't think that we need a high-density development in this area where cars can just keep coming and going. This has to stay residential, as low density as possible. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Watkins.
Super quick, Mike. I chuckled a little bit when you went to the mic. I said, I wonder what he's going to say about this one. And I applaud you for what you had to say. I think the math here is just, it's incompatible at this point, and the ordinance doesn't allow it. The traffic concerns, the land use misalignment, all of it. So you posed some questions to us like, what do you have planned here? Well, it's just not that time yet. And I'm going to push it back to you and say, bring us something other than the gas. If you're a developer in the truest sense, I'm a developer. We've done millions of square feet. This is just not the site. It's just not. So bring us back something that's great for that site. After we're done with the traffic study, we'll be more than happy to really consider that in the best way possible. But I think at this point, I think everybody knows today's not that day. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, just continuing around from the middle out, I'm going to go to Commissioner Weber. Yeah.
So,
well, maybe not. Oh, just kidding.
Mr. Nolan, I think the most profound thing you said in your presentation was that you put the cart before the horse. There are numerous, first of all, I want to say that all the hours of conversations we had about neighborhood nodes, I'm a big fan of the concept. And most of the ones around the township, I've seen renderings of them that I get really excited about. This corner is just wrought with issues. And before we can even have a discussion of a neighborhood node at this corner, there are many other issues that need to be addressed with this intersection, traffic being chief among them. But you have the traffic issues. There are issues with what happens with the creek if they make any improvements to the intersection. All projects are going to cost tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. And I guess my question to your client is, are you willing to foot the bill for that if that has to be done? I think those are questions that need to be answered. I'm sort of disappointed in you, Mr. Nolan, that you came to us for this to ask for our recommendations about what we want to see for this intersection. You were here with the Harvest Arbor development. You gave us a lot to think about. You were well thought out about that. Obviously, that corner would lend itself more to residential development. Here, I think you're throwing darts at a dartboard. And I think we're far away from discussing any kind of tangible development at this corner without addressing the other issues that go with this. You and your client want to have discussions about how to proceed with this corner, I think that's more than fine. But I don't think this is the forum to do that. And I don't think it's our job to make those recommendations at this particular point. I think all of us would be happy to be part of those discussions internally, just to say what our vision is, but I don't think this meeting is the place to do that. And I don't think having a public hearing to have all the people come here tonight to discuss it is appropriate either. I'm not so naive to think that there's not going to be some sort of commercial development at this corner someday, and further down Ford Road for that matter, as we can see development coming west from Superior Township, and more people live in Canton and go to Ann Arbor and vice versa to work. Someone brought up the traffic that happens at the charter school on Ford Road every day. Drives me nuts. I'm waiting for a serious accident to happen because that wasn't well thought out before that charter school was put there. I'm worried about the traffic that's going to result from the facility that's going to be on Ridge Road eventually, because I don't think that traffic situation has been well thought out. I think to do this now would be disastrous from a traffic standpoint, a safety standpoint. I think the concept of the neighborhood node is, in fact, supposed to be more pedestrian-friendly. This intersection is not pedestrian-friendly right now. I think of something where there's commercial development where people can actually walk to it, and I'm not saying this is the one, but I'm saying similar, is what you see a little bit of in Cherry Hill Village, where you have the ice cream store, you have the sub shop, you have the little market there. People can walk there from Cherry Hill Village to that area. That makes more sense to me, not what we're having here. The other question I have is regarding the gas station, and I'm thoroughly disgusted that you're here with a gas station, to be honest with you, given all the discussion we've had about the proposed sheets at the other end of Ford Road. My question is to your clients and the people supporting this development, have you been opposed to a gas station going in at the corner where Ford Road and Lots is? Because I think you're being hypocritical if you have been. So there's a lot of issues, and I think there's plenty of room for discussion about what happens at this corner, but there are many things that need to happen before we ever get to what type of development we put on this corner. That's all I'll say at this time. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Commissioner Foster.
I will start by saying I agree with a lot of the comments of my colleagues. We started the master plan process in 2022. It was the end of 2022. And through that process, we heard from this commission, the township board, and thousands of residents about what their vision for Canton is. We had a lot of conversation about neighborhood nodes. No node more than neighborhood node number 12. It was very popular, spurred a lot of conversation.
Controversial might be the right term.
Controversial up until the very last minute before we passed the master plan, but everyone was consistent about what they do not want to see at that corner. It was a gas station. It was something that was going to bring traffic into the area. And yeah, we can talk about folks going west on Ford Road, coming, going through Canton Center, going towards Beck, and the gas stations there. But there's also folks coming on Ford Road, coming off of M14 and 23. And the fact that there is no gas station, I think for like 15 minutes, if you're coming from that direction, of course, when you get to that station, you're going to want to stop and get gas. It's going to bring a lot of traffic. And as someone who works a lot in Lansing, I come that way a lot, between the charter school, between, certain hours of the day. That is a failing intersection. That is the reason why the township board said we would implement the master plan with the exception of neighborhood node number 12 until we got the recommendations from SEMCOG were implemented. And that is the core of what we're doing. So Mike, you asked, what the township board thinks. The township board thinks that those recommendations need to be implemented. And then we can have that conversation. But we're not there yet. And so I wholeheartedly disagree with this development. I would vote no 1,000 times, and I will vote no today.
Thank you. All right. Commissioner Cruz.
So,
Uh-oh, he's thinking.
I'm not gonna rehash what everybody said, but I think one of the most important things is this road safety audit. When is that coming? Do we know? Do we have a firm date on that?
We've received a draft, and the last that I've seen on it, we're still corresponding with our engineers, the engineers at MDOT, and the engineers at Wayne County about the recommendations and what is recommended to be implemented both on a short and long-term basis. So the last I saw, the engineers for those three public agencies were still reviewing it and discussing internally in terms of timelines for those recommendations.
And then, in addition to that, you mentioned hiring a consultant to study mixed-use developments and traffic and safety pertaining to that, correct?
Not as much with the traffic and safety, although that could be a separate type of evaluation from a traffic engineering standpoint. The consultant that we're looking to procure is a planning consultant to assist planning division staff with the preparation of a mixed-use node zoning district. And as staff, we could probably draft the district, but we wanted to procure a consultant, somebody with some experience writing mixed-use districts, especially ones that have been implemented and where construction has happened, so we can review those standards and review different developments that have been built under those standards. This is a project where working on that district, we think we benefit by some outside help with someone with experience of implementing those districts and working with mixed-use developments and notably successful zoning districts that we can look at and choose based on those types of districts if there are things that we like or don't like, with the understanding that some of those districts, because they've had things built under them, we could actually look at them. So that's something that we think would help us advance not just the timeline of the mixed-use node district, but also the quality of the district.
So I think those two components are related. And I think it's important to have the information before we make a rezone decision. It's reckless and prudent to make a decision before the safety audit. And basically, we're saying, oh, this looks pretty cool, let's do it. Hope the road safety audit fits in with what we're thinking. I don't think that's correct. I think we've got to assess the safety concerns, like everybody has said, and let's figure out what can be done to improve traffic and safety in that area and what kind of uses can be supported by that. I think that's the proper procedure. So to ask for a rezone now, and Mike, I mean, you threw the kitchen sink at this. You got multifamily, you got a gas station, you got retail and restaurants inside. It's like, come on. So, you know, I know your owner wants to do all these things and he's ambitious, but I think we got to follow the right steps here. That's it.
Thank you. Commissioner Janowski?
I'm going to keep on point. What we're asked here today was for the zoning of a C3. I don't see that being fit. And then additionally, a gas station does not work in this space.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I agree with my colleagues up here. You know, the people who don't want any commercial in this area, though, will probably be disappointed because our neighborhood nodes, the whole idea was mixed use for neighborhood nodes. Not that that's the only thing that could happen there, but that we probably will eventually see some commercial in this location, hopefully someday after the safety concerns have been addressed and the narrow bridge that somebody mentioned with the biking and that sort of thing, that whole area is, there's just so many concerns that we've expressed as we've talked about this site as a neighborhood node. So I do not support this project, unfortunately, at this point. And I think we are ready for a motion. We have a very long model motion.
Where's Brian at?
Yeah, Brian.
All right.
Come on, Brian.
I move to recommend denial of the request to rezone parcel number 065-99-0007-702 at 47453 Ford Road from RR Rural Residential to C3 Regional Commercial, as the proposal does not meet the following standards of section 27.06D4 of the zoning ordinance as noted in staff's report and the accompanying attachments of the report. One, the proposed amendment is not in accordance with the basic intent and purpose of the zoning ordinance and the statement of intent of the C3 Regional Commercial Zoning District in section 1701 of the zoning ordinance describes a zoning district that is inappropriate for the subject parcel. Two, the proposed amendment is inconsistent with Canton's master plan, which recommends the subject site to be medium, low-density residential, 3 dwelling units per acre with neighborhood node number 12. Number 3, while conditions have changed since the zoning ordinance was adopted, the recently adopted master plan addresses more suitable development options that respect the context sensitivity of the area. The master plan underwent robust public participation and analysis, and as a result, thoroughly addresses the neighborhood nodes and the development considerations of each neighborhood node area, including neighborhood node number 12. 4, rezoning the subject site to C3 Regional Commercial would grant special privileges because the site is not planned as general commercial in the master plan, and the C3 district is inappropriate for producing the development encouraged by the neighborhood node area of the master plan. If C3 Regional Commercial zoning is approved on the parcel that is not planned for general commercial in the master plan, an inequitable situation will be created by granting a special privilege to this property. 5, there are already many areas of Canton Township that are zoned C3 Regional Commercial and/or supported by the master plan for C3 zoning, so the denial of this rezoning application to rezone the site to C3 Regional Commercial is not exclusionary. 6, the proposed C3 Regional Commercial zoning amendment will set an inappropriate precedent because it will undermine the neighborhood node area of the master plan and encourage inappropriate C3 Regional Commercial zoning in areas where it is not planned or desired. 7, the C3 Regional Commercial District is inconsistent with the existing single-family residential land uses of surrounding RR zone property and is inconsistent with the trends in land development in the general vicinity. 8, the C3 Regional Commercial District is inconsistent with the trends in land development in the general vicinity, including the large residential subdivision to the north, west, and east. 9, the C3 Regional Commercial Zoning District will negatively impact Canton Township's infrastructure because the recommendations of SIMCOG's road safety audit have not been implemented. Therefore, it is premature to consider implementation of neighborhood node number 12, and it is inappropriate to rezone the site to C3 Regional Commercial due to the more intense land uses permitted in the C3 zoning district. The following attachments accompany the review letter and its findings. Do I have to read that?
That's not
I'll
part
stop
of-
reading.
no.
How about that?
But thank you, that was very enthusiastic. All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Watkins, very dramatically read, and support by Commissioner Singh. Any further discussion? All right, Commissioner Eggenberger, could you please call the vote?
Sure, Commissioner Cruz.
Yes.
Deny. Yes to
Oh.
deny.
Yes, to deny.
Okay.
The motion was
correct,
to
I'm glad you
deny.
went first.
Yes.
Calling my shit out?
No, I would have said no and not understanding which way I was supposed to say it. Okay, thank you. Commissioner Eggenberger, yes, feels weird, but okay. Commissioner Foster,
Yes.
Commissioner Janowski,
Yes.
Commissioner Singh,
Yes.
Commissioner Watkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Weber,
Yes.
Chairperson Zuber.
Yes. Motion carries to deny the request to rezone the parcel. So, wish you the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to entertain a motion for a very short recess.
So moved.
All right, could you support that?
We do one of those double times on the next one?
Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Weber and support by Commissioner Eggenberger for a short recess. Could everyone please, thank you, could you all please clear the room before you start your conversations? We still have a meeting to continue, so thank you for understanding. Thank you. All right. don't know if anybody wants to take a quick break. We've recessed. I just thought to get everybody out. Yeah. Okay.
No, I was watching the.
I will entertain a motion to continue the meeting.
So moved.
I don't know if I did that right, but okay. We have a motion by Commissioner Eggenberger and support by Commissioner Janowski to continue the meeting, so we are going to go forward.
All in favor?
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. We didn't vote to,
No, we didn't vote to
that's all
leave.
right.
Oh,
Well, whatever. All right, we have another item on our agenda. We have a great, huge audience for this, so I'm gonna be really careful with how we proceed. Item number 141-SLU-8756, that is the A to Z Galleria. We're considering special land use for several parcels that I'm not going to read off at the corner of Michigan Ave and Hanan Road. The properties are located on the north side of Michigan Avenue and west of Hanan Road. The proposed use is fast food drive-through restaurants. Patrick, tell us all about it.
Thank you. The project sponsor proposes to construct 3 multi-tenant commercial buildings at the northwest corner of Michigan Avenue and Hanan Road. And each proposed building has a drive-through fast food restaurant on the west side. The site is about 2 3/4 acre and consists of 3 parcels, which are zoned C3 regional commercial, speaking of the C3 district. And fast food restaurants are special land uses in the C3 zoning district, subject to section 27.03C of the zoning ordinance. And if the applicant were coming in just for retail, multi-tenant without the fast food restaurant, then it would just be a site plan application, not a special land use application, although there may still be some variances considered, which we'll describe in a little bit more detail in our report. The conclusion of our report is that we recommend postponing action on the application because there are some things, both that are external, including review of the traffic impact study that have not yet concluded. And there are some items with the plan itself in terms of design that we recommend some revisions. In some cases, because we're only at the phase of special land use review is not the same as site plan review. If the special land use application is approved, then the applicant will move forward to site plan approval where final determinations will be made on parking, architecture, landscaping, lighting, screening, dumpster enclosure, things like that. But because of the level of detail on the special land use plan that's in the packet, as well as potential impacts on the area, specifically to the single-family residents to the north, we recommend additional details on the special land use plan that address some of the staff concerns. There are many elements of the site for regional commercial development that do fit the area. Michigan Avenue is a heavily traveled road. There's an auto repair place just to the west. I think a religious institution to the east. So there's commercial development around the area, so commercial development by itself is a fit. There are many elements of the special land use standards that do support some type of drive-through restaurant use, just based on other drive-through restaurant uses along Michigan Avenue, some of the surrounding area where it would be a fit, provided that the provisions of the zoning ordinance are met that comply with the special land use standards that are in the ordinance, as well as the technical standards in the sections like in Article 5 for landscaping and screening. Some of the items, and I'll just kind of summarize what's in our staff report here because I know it's late and everything is in the report. But our recommendation for postponing action is to review the following. I've got a list of roughly 8 items to continue considering. The first is the buffer to the north. The zoning ordinance requires a 60-foot wide buffer whenever there's a non-residential site that abuts residential use. Because of the angle and configuration of the property, getting the full 60 feet for the length of the property on the north side is challenging, based on the depth, especially the depth on the west side. But as we can see on this aerial map, the developed single-family residential to the north, it's about the eastern half of the site. So we would recommend, to the greatest extent possible, meeting the 60-foot setback there and the vegetated 30-foot buffer. So that standard is both a 60-foot setback and a 30-foot buffer. So the first item of concern is the buffer on the north side and planting the required vegetation of the ordinance there. The second is the setback to the north. There is a variance noted in the site, in the special land use plan that the applicant proposes to apply for. There are some of a portion of the center building and then part of the western building are within the 60-foot setback. That might well be approved by the Zoning Board of Appeals, but we think that there should be some design elements changed on the plan that may improve the chances of a variance application for a 60-foot setback variance for those portions. And that some of that could be helped by better buffering on the north side. The third area of concern is having a physical barrier between the drive-through lane and the travel vehicle lane. Adjacent to the west side of the center building and the east building, there's the drive-through lane that's going southbound, but there's also a two-way traffic lane there. And so to have two-way traffic lanes and then an adjacent drive-through lane, there could be some traffic issues and potentially some safety issues. So we would recommend some kind of a physical barrier between the drive-through lane and the two-way travel lane. And we give an example of the multi-tenant building in front of Home Depot on Ford Road that has a two-way lane, but it's separated by a raised concrete. It's almost as wide as a sidewalk between the two-way travel lane and the drive-through lane. The fourth item is considering reducing the number of parking spaces. There's more than the minimum required, and specifically in the northeast part of the site, there's an opportunity there to remove excess parking spaces and add additional buffering adjacent to that single-family residential area. The fifth consideration is the facade materials. The brick percentages of some of the buildings are less than 50%, and the west and center building are just under 50% brick. And CMU block is roughly 90%, over 90% of the material on the north side of the site, which faces the single-family residential area. So we would recommend a little bit of additional brick on the north sides just to get the overall percentage to 50, and then some additional architectural interest on the north sides just to make it a little bit more visually attractive from the north side of the site. The sixth item that we note are we recommend connecting sidewalks between the sidewalks along Michigan Avenue and Hannon Road, building sidewalks that connect the right-of-way sidewalks to the sidewalks adjacent to the building so that if there are pedestrians on Ford and Hannon using the sidewalks, they can safely and efficiently get to the site through sidewalks between the building and the right-of-way. The seventh item is the dumpster enclosure. We think that modifications could be made to make those dumpster enclosures conforming, extending the walls a little bit southward, and we think that can be done without interfering with the travel lane. And then eighth, this is probably one of the most important ones, is that the traffic impact study review has not yet been completed by Canton's traffic engineering consultant, MDOT and Wayne County. So the traffic study has some conclusions. The traffic study is in the packet. We have a few bullet point lists in our review letter. But the summary of that is that the engineering experts have not yet reviewed it. So we can't make any affirmative findings on the traffic study or the public agency review of the traffic study. So because we can't make those affirmative findings, we can't recommend proceeding with a special land use application. But nevertheless, we can hold the public hearing. We can have a good discussion with the applicant, talk about the site, and answer any questions that the Planning Commission may have. The last item that I want to mention is that there is a wall proposed on the north side of the site, and it's not within the 85-foot front yard setback from Hannon Road because that's an ordinance requirement. However, the residential site to the north could benefit by extending that wall easterly. If the applicant were to extend that wall easterly, they could include that in a variance application to the Zoning Board of Appeals. The application can contain multiple variance requests. It doesn't cost any more to have more variance requests on one application. We had previously recommended that the applicant not have the wall in the front yard setback from Hannon Road, but after receiving some comments from the neighbors to the north, and those comments have been shared with planning commissioners, we would recommend reconsidering that for the benefit of the single-family residences to the north, and we would recommend including a wall variance to have it within some part of the front yard of Hannon Road, just to benefit the single-family residents to the north. So that's something where our staff position has changed based on some public comment we received. So with that, our recommendation would be to postpone action on the special land use application pending receipt of materials that address the comments that are in staff's report. If the application is postponed, when it comes back to the Planning Commission, we won't have to have another public hearing because that will take place this evening. So that part of the process will have concluded. So our motion that we've drafted in the staff letter has been a motion to postpone. If the Planning Commission desires, we can prepare any other motions. So that concludes our staff report, and we'll be happy to take any questions.
All right, do we have a motion to open the public hearing?
Motion.
All right. All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Watkins and support by Commissioner Janowski. Is that you? Yeah, okay, thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, Mr. Tizio, come to the podium. Tell us who you are and what you want to do.
Buenos Ben Tissio, Tissio Architects, 19815 Farmington Road, Livonia. Thank you for hearing us tonight. And we concur, we have some work to be done on the site, but I did want to make several points. One is that this is characterized as having 3 fast food restaurants. That's incorrect. If you look at the site plan, we have a Big B Coffee on the corner. I don't believe that's defined as a fast food restaurant. Then we do have a restaurant in the center building, and on the east building, it is not defined, it's just a tennis space. It is our desire to have a drugstore there. That's the purpose for the drive-through. So we are not proposing to have 3 fast food restaurants at this location. The other thing that concerns me is the possible requirement to have a de-acceleration lane entering this property. That poses some pretty significant safety factors when you have Michigan Avenue at 55 miles an hour. In order to accomplish that, we would have to move all of our driveways back. We would have to move the sidewalk now onto our property and somehow come up with a barrier that might be 3 feet wide, full of concrete, 3 feet high. It's the only way to keep the pedestrians safe from that traffic. That's going to be a real challenge. And I know I've talked to my civil engineers, and they're very, very concerned about detailing something to that effect. If somebody gets injured, and when they do, they're going to sue all of us. So I ask that we really look at that very seriously about not providing that de-acceleration lane. I believe everything else we can work through. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. I'm going to start with Commissioner Janowski. Oh, I'm sorry, there's a public hearing. I'm sorry, thank you. Anybody from the public besides Mr. Tizio like to address the project? All right, thank you. Aye.
I'm Beth Chirata. I live at 3608 Hannon Road. I'm the property that is adjacent to this proposal. And
Thanks.
I'd like to thank Patrick. He's just been wonderful helping us through this process. We've lived at our house since 1979, raised our kids there, you know, just hoping nothing would go on the corner. There were actually 2 residential properties there. And when Mrs. Hannon died, her daughter took the property, and she eventually donated it to a church. So it probably got sold. And we're concerned about the traffic. In the morning, we have school buses, we have people coming down Hannon Road. There's a long line of traffic. Sometimes it's in front of our driveway. In the evening, same thing. So we've got, you know, that problem right there. If the customers are coming in off Hannon Road, I'm just wondering how that impacts, what's going to happen in front of our driveway. But fortunately, I really appreciate that you guys are doing the traffic impact study, so thank you. The other concern is, and now it's great to know it's not fast food, but what's going to go into those 2 buildings that are closest to our house? We have a fence up, we have 2 dogs, we sit out in our backyard, we have a deck, and now we're going to be right by a parking lot and a lot of cars coming in with lights on our house. We're worried about the noise, we're worried about the lights, how that's going to impact us at night, the hours of operation, and so a lot of things that we're hoping that you'll consider, depending on, and you too, what's going to go in. We really haven't wanted to move. We like our property, and we just are hoping that whatever happens here happens to our benefit as well with the barrier. And so, thank you.
Yes, would you like to?
And I live in 48735 Cherry Hill, living in Kenton Township since 2009 or 10, I believe so. We decided to do this project, so I have some other in mind too, to make part of my share for the township. What I'll say is, I will do amazing to my neighbors. Right now they're requiring to have me a wall, and eventually they will regret. They will say, oh, I wish there was no wall so we can enjoy what we having over there. So that's how I'm gonna make amazing for them. I will give them what they like. And I can assure they will not like me, they'll love me.
Okay, very good.
I move to close the public hearing.
Anyone
Support.
else want to speak? Okay. We have
One who's here spoke.
well, there's one man that hasn't said anything yet, so
Hey, he's her husband.
I think so, but
I
I
I'm
figured.
sure she spoke for him.
Okay, well, anyway, okay, so we have a,
That's
we
right.
have a motion by Commissioner Weber and support by, who was the supporting? Who supported that?
Watkins.
Watkins, thank you, okay. To close the public hearing, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, I'm going to start with Commissioner Janowski.
Given the time, I'll be pretty quick and to the point. Just looking at the plans, and just hearing Patrick speak. Real quick is the offsets. I see that being a potential issue, and then water runoff. That seems to be an issue. Just me looking at it. That's all my comments that I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Cruz.
So this is abutting residential to the north. What's the screening requirement by ordinance?
Screening requirement is a 30-foot wide landscape berm, and it has to have a mix of a certain number of deciduous and ornamental trees, and it has to also have 75% evergreen tree screening, so staggered double row over 75% of it. And as we see on the plan there, as the lot narrows going east to west, and the way the site's configured with the parking and minimum setbacks, the western building and the west part of the center building start to encroach into that rear yard setback there. So that gets the landscape buffer less and less. The Planning Commission at the time of site plan review can consider alternative means of screening, and in some cases, walls have been implemented. Sometimes the issues with walls are they can only go so high, whereas an evergreen screen can grow 20 feet or more and give not just visual privacy at a larger height, but also noise and help with the lighting.
Yeah, because the cars that are parked there will shine right to that north property. So, I mean, I would take into consideration what that resident's preference is, if we can do that. You know, if they don't want the wall and they want robust evergreen landscaping, then we should try to accommodate that.
Wall, though.
You wanted the wall.
You want both.
Well, you have part of a wall, and it stops.
But wait, Ben, if you want to respond, please go to the mic, but yeah, you do have part of a wall, but we're talking about extending it.
That's correct. We originally had the wall to the end of the parking spaces. And once we learned that there is a future 120-foot right-of-way on Hannon Road, we were required to remove the wall and put in additional landscaping. Otherwise, we did have it to the end of the parking spots. You go back to my site plan, and you can see all the landscaping that we've introduced, including new landscaping in front of the existing wooded area.
Those evergreens?
They're a mixture of different species.
Yeah, so on the north side, there's a number of trees there, but it doesn't have that double row of evergreens over at the 75% area. So there's the attempt here to put in as much as possible adjacent to the residence. There's an outline here of the home. And where in our staff report, we recommend potential removal of some of these spaces here on the north. That would open up some area for some additional evergreens and additional trees. And the berm has to be, the landscape berm adjacent has to be 4 feet high, which for a 1-on-3 slope needs a lot of width. So that 30-foot width that's required by the zoning ordinance, that's needed just to get to the height of 4 feet over that span and that slope.
And if I could add, I did take a quick look at that, and excuse me, we could eliminate 10 parking spots out of the 18 the 15 on the back, leave 5 there, so that we could continue the berm with the landscaping or the wall. It's going to be both. We can't have both. I don't think we have the room to have both.
With a special land use, we can impose that, right?
Yeah, I think if the application is postponed, it would be an opportunity for the applicant to look at that to see what's possible in that area in terms of, evaluating whether both are possible with the wall, and then there would have to be some separation from the wall to the berm. So it might not be a 4-foot berm, it might be, a 2 to 3 foot berm. And then the separation from the wall, we just have to look at the width of it to see what's possible, and maybe something their landscape architect could look at as well in terms of finding species that could fit in maybe a somewhat narrower area.
And I did have a conversation with the landscape architect today, and we're coming up with ideas to satisfy all the needs. I also did want to point out one thing, and I was glad to hear a lot of discussion about the future land use plan here. When we developed the site, we took that in mind, and the future land use of the property north of it is a commercial use. I just wanted to throw that out there. Right, I understand that.
Well, Patrick, I want to, we have to have a public hearing. That's why this has come before us, even though you're not recommending us to approve it? Is that why we have to have it anyways? Because it seems like we could have all done it in one shot. Public hearing, approval, boom, once, So I'm just wondering, process.
Yeah. In this case, most of the time, our staff preference is to not bring it before the Planning Commission until we've received all the traffic engineers' comments and a number of different things that we note here in the letter. But in discussing this with the applicant, they had gone through, I think this might be the second or third plan revision, and they wanted an opportunity to present it to the Planning Commission to discuss it, which is fine because I think it allows the Planning Commission to give feedback It also allowed for the public hearing, so we got some valuable public comment in terms of potential screening and impact on the north side of the site that we might not have had otherwise. So even though we recommend postponing it, I think, and it's another meeting or perhaps 2 meetings, depending on how things go. But sometimes with an applicant, we may say that, okay, we can bring this to the Planning Commission for feedback and discussion, but our staff recommendation would be postponement just because there's some things that we're still waiting on. Now, the Planning Commission can make a recommendation to go forward to the Township Board if it wants to, but because of some of the other information that we're looking for, we don't recommend that at this point.
And I mean, it would be a long shot for us to approve something that you're not recommending for these things you listed. That's why I'm just questioning that, so.
Foster.
No questions. I am interested in seeing the traffic.
Commissioner Weber.
I don't really have any questions. In general, I'm fine with the development, but there are all these kind of open-ended things, and I kind of think I'm echoing a little bit of what Commissioner Cruz was saying. I understand getting the public hearing out of the way. I kind of think we were premature to be here tonight for this public hearing, much like I think our previous public hearing was premature. It really, well, not even premature was that one, but that's another story. So I guess I'm just going to leave it at that. I'll see what they come back with after some of your recommendations, Patrick, and see how we proceed from there. But I'm glad we'll get the public hearing out of the way tonight anyway.
Commissioner Eggenberger.
I agree we should wait for the traffic study, but I wanted to ask about the project sponsor said, and I'm not sure I'm going to use the right term, the deceleration lane? Deceleration lane? That you don't want one? And it seems like that would be a good idea.
Well, if you
people
could
are
pull
coming
up the
along at
civil
55
engineering
miles an
drawing,
hour.
I'll show you why it's a problem. No, it discussed it yet.
The mic or the, yeah.
And you notice it's just a dotted line to indicate where it would be if it was required. And you can see the dashed line is halfway into the sidewalk, the existing sidewalk that's there now. So in order for this to work, we would have to have some kind of barrier between the back of the curb and the sidewalk, and it's got to be several feet, and it has to be some kind of concrete, tangible barrier that would stop a car that might be going 20 miles an hour from hitting somebody on the sidewalk. And then that means that we have to push the sidewalk onto our property. It means that we have to have the radius tangent point onto our property. It may be required by MDOT.
Use your mic.
That's correct.
Yeah, there's no way they're gonna require that, unless that traffic study said something. But I don't think it's gonna be required, because there's 4 lanes. In other words, if someone turning right, you can go into the 3 other lanes.
I understand that, but
That's
again,
why.
that's what we were informed of.
Yeah, and we can show a comp. The site is at Michigan and Hannon, which is right here at the northwest corner. And then we go west, here's the auto repair place. And then we go even farther west. This is Walker Winter Elementary School. And in front of that elementary school, they do have the right turn lane.
School's a different animal.
Right. So we see here where there's the proximity of the right turn lane to the sidewalk. So this is something we'll defer to the road agencies and the civil engineers on that.
And the traffic study should flesh that out, right?
Not necessarily.
It has on our other ones, where Wade Trim has even commented that they agree with a proposed deceleration lane per the traffic study. Orway Trim comments that there should be one based on the traffic study.
Yeah, there was some commentary in the traffic study that does recommend the right turn lane on Michigan Avenue. But, you know, whether the road agencies want that with the proximity to the sidewalk, we'll let them make that decision and make that recommendation, whether, number one, they would even permit it, and number two, if so, under what
In
circumstances.
other words, it's not our jurisdiction.
Is it the county jurisdiction or is that state jurisdiction? It's a state.
Yeah, that's
That's
a
what I
state
thought.
highway.
Okay, well, that'll just be more part of what we get from the traffic study. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Commissioner Singh?
One question about those parking spaces in the back. You said that we can reduce those spaces to 5 from 15. Can we just fully eliminate those parking spaces? So there's nobody parking there and,
Well, that was designated for employees to keep them away from the front of the center where the customers would park. That was the reason we had those spaces back.
all of those locations there, all of those businesses there will have 5 employees only?
No, there's 15 parking spots we had proposed in the back
So
there.
you said we are ready to eliminate 10 of those.
Well, that was a recommendation because evidently, I didn't realize there was a maximum allowed over the required parking. You can't exceed 5% of the required parking. So we have 18 over, so we need to eliminate 10 parking spots on the site to be in compliant with the 5% maximum overage. So I'm proposing we take those 10 out on the back, and that resolves the berm issue and other issues on the site.
Now, I would suggest that we eliminate all of those parking spaces so that way nobody is parking there, nobody's shining light at their house at all. And 5 parking spots are obviously not enough for all those employees who are going to work there. So wherever the other employees park, these 5 can park there too. Just my suggestion.
You have to go
You
to,
have to
please
come
go to
there.
the mic.
Come out of
please.
here.
Yeah, we need to record these, and you can't be heard if you're not at the mic.
We're eliminating 10 out of it, leaving 5 rest. We can, for her concern about lighting to her home, we can do parallel parking, where light will be opposite direction. We could do that. We could do about anything.
That makes sense.
Makes
Yeah,
sense?
Thank you. Okay.
No, that's all. Thank you.
Mr. Watkins?
No questions, Madam Chair.
Okay. All right, well, Oh.
Colleagues have sorted it out at this point.
It was so good, though. It was so dramatic. Yeah, I don't have anything to add to what my colleagues have already said. I think this would be a nice development, but we do need to think about some things a little bit, so, all right. Does
Can I
anyone-
ask, do you have Big B Coffee wanting to be here, or is that?
Please go to the mic. I'm so sorry, but we do record these, so.
I used to. I'm pretty much new to it. The one I own is right down on Kenton Center in Fort Road at the
Oh,
moment.
yeah, I recognize you, yeah.
The other one is going to be right on Michigan Avenue. That will be the biggest Big B.
Really?
The biggest Big B. All right.
And I'm gonna remind you, all I do amazing thing. Nothing less.
You guys are a good fit. I'm just saying.
Well, got to say this. Ben is Italian, and I always believe an Italian architect work is amazing. Paid the price and brought him here today. Just to give you little evidence that the beginning of being amazingness is going to be ahead of us.
There you go. And Ben, I've known Ben for, 25 years, so something like that, yeah. No. So, anyway, all right, somebody want to make a motion?
I move to postpone action on planning application number 141 SOU 8756 for proposed drive-through fast food restaurant special land uses on parcels 141-99-0003-700 and 141-1-99-004-000 and 141-99-0005-001 at 39558 and 39462 Michigan Avenue based on the special land use application. Materials not providing sufficient information to demonstrate compliance with the standards, section 27.03C of the zoning ordinance and the applicable development standards of the zoning ordinance as noted by Planning Division staff, and pending receipt of revised application materials from the applicant that demonstrate compliance with these standards of the zoning ordinance.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Watkins and support by Commissioner Singh. Any further discussion? Commissioner Eggenberger, could you please call the vote?
Sure. Commissioner Cruz?
Yes.
Commissioner Eggenberger, yes. Commissioner Foster?
Yes.
Commissioner Janowski? Yes. Commissioner Singh?
Yes.
Commissioner Watkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Weber?
Yes.
And Chairperson Zuber?
Yes. All right. So, thank you very much. Good luck. All right. Thank you for coming to. So next item on our agenda.
Wow, I've never seen this.
No kidding. This is a first.
Can we video this for a
Yeah.
promotional thing?
Hopefully that gets into the video. Hug what?
Mike, no one hugged Mike Knowles.
No one hugged Mike Knowles. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, next item on our agenda. We have a zoning ordinance text amendment for the Zoning Board of Appeals membership. Can we make this really short?
Can we just motion it? Is that what you need, a motion to set a public hearing?
We set the public hearing at the October 6th meeting, so tonight is the public hearing. So
Oh.
we just need to open the public hearing. I see no one in the audience, and then close it, and then you can proceed with the motion unless there's any questions.
I moved to open the public hearing.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Weber and support by Commissioner Janowski. Was that you? Okay, sorry, couldn't see you. To open the public hearing, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Madam Chair, motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All right, we have a lot of support for that. Motion by Commissioner Watkins and support by Commissioner Weber to close the public hearing. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay. Motion time.
Support.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Janowski, support by Commissioner Foster. Any further discussion?
Hey, Alan.
Okay.
Man, you were gonna get in
Smartass.
big trouble there for a minute.
All right, Commissioner Eggenberger, could you please call the vote?
Sure. Commissioner Cruz?
Yes.
Commissioner Eggenberger, yes. Commissioner Foster?
Yes.
Commissioner Janowski? Yes. Commissioner Singh?
Yes.
Commissioner Watkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Weber?
Yes.
And Chairperson Zuber?
Yes, thank you. Motion carries. All right, so we have new business. Item number 060-ZCC-8810, Roland Chalhoub, non-conforming contiguous lots. We're considering approval to use, occupy, or sell one or more non-conforming contiguous lots as separate individual lots pursuant to section 3.05C of the zoning ordinance for two parcels on Willard Drive. Patrick, give us the lowdown.
Okay, we've seen a few of these applications this year, and there are two contiguous, non-conforming parcels on Willard. Willard Drive is a gravel road, and to the north is ITC, and even north of that is the trail. And then go farther south, and then it's Cherry Hill Road. So it's a pretty rural area. This is a historic plat. And as you can see from the two homes to the south, very similar size parcels. So conforming homes can be constructed on these properties that can meet the setbacks. They just have to be appropriately sized, which is possible and has been done in the township. The site abuts an improved road, so it has frontage on a road. It also has water main and sewer main along the frontage of it, so it can connect to the utilities. So based on those facts and the comments in our staff report, our recommendation is approval. Sorry. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Patrick.
My question is just, is this, remember we had somebody come once, and is this what the change in the, okay. Yep. Good. Glad I didn't have to use words that really talked about what it was.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
We're all like this, Nancy.
Right, thank you, exactly, yep.
Except for me, I'm somehow.
You don't remember what, you don't know what I'm
I'm
talking
really
about?
tired.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It actually started already, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, I remember him coming and we were like, yeah, you should be able to do that. Okay,
Thank you.
great.
We need a motion?
A motion. Oh, well.
Yeah, does anyone have any questions other than Nancy? No notes, Nancy.
Wow, that's kind of a shock.
I move to approve waivers pursuant to section 3.05C 1 or I of the zoning ordinance planning application number 060-ZCC-8810 to allow the two subject parcels 060-01-0747-300 and 060-01-0748-300 to be used as separate residential lots based on compliance with the following standards of the section 3.05C1 A through C. Both parcels will have public water and public sanitary sewer connections. That was A. B is both parcels have frontage on Willard Road, which is an approved road. C, both parcels are of sufficient area and width for a principal building to comply with the required front yard setbacks, side yard setbacks, and rear yard setbacks of the current R5 zoning district.
Want to support that?
Go.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Eggenberger and support by Commissioner Janowski. Any further discussion? All right, Commissioner Eggenberger, could you please call the vote?
Sure, Commissioner Cruz.
Yes.
Commissioner Eggenberger, yes. Commissioner Foster.
Yes.
Commissioner Janowski. Yes. Commissioner Singh.
Yes.
Commissioner Watkins.
Yes.
Commissioner Weber.
Yes.
And Chairperson Zuber.
Yes. All right, we have a whole lot more business to do here.
Yeah.
Ugh. It feels like midnight to me, but anyway. Okay. Yeah. We have zoning ordinance amendment for religious land uses and related standards. We need to set a public hearing, so that could be quick, right? Tell us more about it, Patrick, but be very, very short in your description.
All right, will do. So tonight, it'll just be to set the public hearing. It doesn't necessarily mean that you agree with or endorse the proposed text amendment. There's two reasons for the proposed text amendment. The first is that, bless you. The first is that there have been some recent special land use applications for religious institutions. And the way that some of the current zoning standards are written for religious institutions, they're treated different than non-religious assembly uses regarding setbacks and I think width and some lot characteristics. So the best approach would be to either apply those same development standards for all assembly uses or to remove those standards from the religious land uses. And those are like a minimum lot width, lot area, parking setback, building setback that are above and beyond the zoning district, and a couple other things that will relate only to religious land uses and not to other assembly land uses. So those specific development standards, we recommend taking them out of the ordinance as they apply to religious land uses. Religious land uses would still have to apply or comply with the setback standards of the district, the landscaping, the lighting, if they're special land uses, having traffic studies or permitted uses traffic studies. So all those underlying zoning standards would still apply. So it would take off some of those individualized characteristics for religious land uses that don't apply to non-religious assembly uses. So that's reason one for the text amendment. The other reason for the text amendment is to recommend allowing the architectural features of religious land use buildings to go as high as 65 feet. Right now, they can go 20 feet above the maximum. And in a recent case of Mecca, that would allow up to 55 feet. They've applied for a variance to go from 55 to 65 feet. One of the reasons cited was that St. Thomas A. Becket was allowed to have 65 feet back in 1999 when the ZBA granted that church a variance. And over time, if the ZBA continues to review variance requests for religious institutions and give separate rulings without giving good findings of fact, which in the 1999 ZBA case, there were not good findings of fact, this is going to lead to some disparate impacts and results without the findings to back that up. So our recommendation is the highest known religious building in the community is 65 feet, which is St. Thomas A. Becket. Some communities allow even higher heights for religious institution buildings or decorative elements on other buildings. And so we recommend having the height go up to 65 feet with some restrictions that are noted in the draft ordinance text. This would allow Mecca, for instance, to have the minaret that's proposed on their plan would be approved by right. It would allow also an opportunity for any religious land use in the community to add architectural features to the tops of their buildings or extend them higher up to 65 feet. And then it would be applied equally throughout the community where 65 feet is the maximum and hopefully minimize, if not eliminate, variance requests from that subsection of the zoning ordinance. So that is a summary of the text amendment. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Patrick. Any questions? Any motions? There's a lot of numbers.
So you need a motion to set the public hearing? Yeah. Madam Chair, I move to set the public hearing related to zoning ordinance amendments for religious land uses and related.
Oh, there's a whole bunch of numbers there.
Really, Patrick?
You could say for the sections cited in the staff report, and then we can include those sections in the minutes.
Oh, no, you didn't.
I didn't.
Want me to just hand it to you? Just say for the sections listed in the staff report.
I move to set the public hearing on the proposed amendments to the following sections of the zoning ordinance as provided in the attached ordinance proposal. Sections 1.03, 2.16C, 4.01B1, 4.01B5, 6.02U, 10.02B4, 11.02B3, 12.02B4, 13.02B4, 14.02B1, 16.02A7, 17.02A5, 19.02A3, 20.02A8, 22.02B7, and 27.02B1.
Support.
Hey, I have to say, I like Brian's dramatic reading better, but I like you.
Never gone.
I
You
like
could've read
you. All right.
Want it out of here.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Weber and support by Commissioner Eggenberger. Any further discussion? All right. Commissioner Eggenberger, could you please call the vote?
Sure. Commissioner Cruz.
Yes.
Commissioner Eggenberger, yes. Commissioner Foster.
Yes.
Commissioner Janowski.
Yes.
Commissioner Singh.
Yes.
Commissioner Watkins.
Yes.
Commissioner Weber.
Yes.
And Chairperson Zuber.
Yes, please. All right. And now we have the Planning Commission meeting schedule for 2026, in which we will consider approval of the 2026 Planning Commission meeting schedule. I'm glad that that title aligns so well with the purpose.
Yeah, I have nothing else to add.
Anyone want to make a motion?
I'm not, because I was told I don't read them properly.
I'll do it. Just making the motion here. I move to recommend approval of the 2026 Planning Commission meeting schedule presented by Planning Division staff, subject to amendment by the planning commission as necessary.
Support.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Singh and support by Commissioner Foster. Any further discussion? Commissioner Eggenberger, could you please call the vote?
Sure. Commissioner Cruz?
Yes.
Commissioner Eggenberger, yes. Commissioner Foster?
Yes.
Commissioner Janowski? Yes. Commissioner Singh?
Yes.
Commissioner Watkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Weber?
Yes.
And Chairperson Zuber?
Yes. All right, motion carries.
Madam Chair, motion to adjourn?
All right.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to adjourn by Commissioner Watkins and support by
Everyone.
Yeah, support by everyone on the commission. I'll give that to Weber. All right. All in favor, please say aye.
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 You know, Patrick,